Can I get your thoughts to kick it off on this accused killer in connection with the murder of Brian Thompson and what you glean from the facts that we just outlaid with Candace?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's such an illuminating story, and I've seen this so much in my own practice as a family doctor now for more than 30 years. So many boys want to be heroes. They want to be seen as heroes. They want to see themselves as heroes in their own eyes. You know, I spoke some years ago at a conference on juvenile justice, statewide conference in New Mexico, and the topic was Boys Adrift, the title of one of my books. And after my presentation, they had a panel of four experts from across the state. And one was Judge John Romero, who's the chief of the juvenile judges in Albuquerque. And he said when he first began doing this work as a juvenile judge in Albuquerque, he was puzzled because all these teenage boys, good men with great potential, being accused of these horrible, violent crimes. And he would take them into his chambers and say, why are you doing this? Don't you understand? You're going to go to jail for decades. Why are you throwing your life away? And he told us it took him a long time to understand these boys want to be heroes, and the school doesn't understand that, but the gang understands it. The gang says, "Here's a gun. Go and shoot the rival gang leader, and if you succeed, you're a hero. If you get killed trying, you're a hero. If you get thrown in jail, you're a hero. If you chicken out, you're a wuss." And then he looked right at us, and he said, most of you're not from the barrio, and you're thinking, oh, I'm doing great. My son's not going to be in the juvenile justice system. He said, but your son is no different. The difference between your son and the boys I see, your son is staying at home in his bedroom playing his video games. The difference between your son and the boys in my chambers is your son is playing with pretend guns in his video game, but it's the same dynamic, playing with pretend guns, being a pretend hero in his Call of Duty and his Grand Theft Auto. In both cases, though, your son has left the real world in his fantasy world, wanting to be a hero in his own mind. And that's the same thing that's going on here. We have failed as a society to capture these boys, to give them better models, better ways to become a hero, to be a hero in the right way. And again, that's going back to my book, Boys Adrift, where I talk about good role models, men like Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who gave his life for the right cause. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a pastor, had a comfortable job preaching in New Jersey in 1938, and left that job and went back to Nazi Germany, put his life in jail, in jeopardy, and joined the conspiracy to take the life of Adolf Hitler, and was caught and was executed in concentration camp. That's a good man. That's a role model. We're failing at the job of inspiring boys to be the right kind of hero.
So how do you figure out whether it's that kind of a problem where he is sane and has not suffered a psychotic break, but just is under this delusion that he needs to be a hero somehow and he's got to do it, he's the only one brave enough to do it, versus, oh no, it's basically a school shooter with a different purpose. He's had a break. It happens often around this age, and he's lost it. He's no longer of sane mind.
Okay, I've written about school shooters, and that's a different process in place. There's always been a small minority of boys who take pleasure in killing, take pleasure in inflicting pain. And I wrote an article about this for a magazine called First Things. I called it The Unspeakable Pleasure. And that's a minority of boys. That's rare, but it happens. And again, that's not insanity. That's a variation on human nature. It's always been with us. But again, we need to know how to capture these boys. We have the game of football. Hey, there's always been boys who enjoy inflicting pain. Have them play the line. And I was doing this talk at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and it happened that my host used to play the line for University of Wisconsin-Madison. And I called out to him and I said, do you have any comments about that? And he said, a good hit is better than sex. Healthy cultures know how to capture boys and channel those instincts into healthy channels. It's not insanity. The insanity plea in that case is a cop-out. Okay, there are people who truly have psychotic disorders and they hear voices telling them that this person is a lion who's going to eat them and they have to shoot them. That's not what's going on here. That's not what's going on with Luigi Mangione, and that's not what's going on with school shooters. Some invented lawyers try to make that case. It's unpersuasive. We're not talking here about psychotic disorders and schizophrenics. We're talking about boys who have evil impulses. There's nothing new about this. This is as old as Genesis chapter 4. Sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must master it. Genesis chapter 4.
What would you guess, and this is a total guess because we don't know much about his family, but you are a parenting expert and an actual MD, and you've been doing this kind of work for decades now. I'm just going to guess, Dr. Sax, the Mangione family probably didn't have the dinners around the table together 7 nights a week. That's just a stab in the dark.
I have learned the hard way. It's very hard to speculate about what went on under the roof at home. We all know that he graduated from a secular high school, a school with no religious affiliation. And the culture has changed. 30 years ago, American popular culture taught right and wrong. We know this. This is not a guess. We have scholars who have looked at American popular culture. The most popular TV shows, 1967, 77, 87, 97, were shows like The Andy Griffith Show, Family Ties, Happy Days, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Researchers have looked at these shows, and they found that they consistently taught that the most important thing is to do the right thing, to tell the truth, right through 1997. But by 2007, they found American culture had flipped upside down. And the most important thing in the shows that teenagers were watching in 2007 was not to do the right thing. It was to win. In shows like American Idol and Survivor, the most important thing
Survivor.
now is to win. Doing the right thing, that's going to get you voted off the island. So American popular culture, beginning in the early 2000s, was no longer about doing the right thing. It's about winning and becoming famous. So American culture is now a post-Christian culture. It's no longer a culture in which doing the right thing is taught. And so, 30 years ago, it wasn't so important to go to a school that taught Judaism or Christianity. Now it is. I attended public schools in Ohio, K through 12. But today, I think it's more important that you enroll your kid in a school that has a firm moral foundation. And I can tell you many horror stories about public schools that don't, and independent schools that don't. And what we do know about Luigi Mangione is that he went to a secular independent school, the Gilman School, which has no religious affiliation. And I am speculating, but you go to a secular independent school, they're not teaching the 10 Commandments. They're not teaching do unto others as you have them do unto you. And boys are adrift.
For those of us who have been holding our breath for the past several months, waiting for this election, we can finally exhale. Work can now be done on the major issues this country's facing, one of the most significant being our national debt. The fact is our nation's broke, and that debt is a house of cards that cannot be quickly dismantled. So the strategy for you probably remains the same when it comes to your investments. You might want to diversify your savings. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control, out of our president's control. So it can be important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. And the best news is it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. Text MK to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold. Plus, right now you will receive a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. Protect your savings with Birch Gold and text MK to 989898 to claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.